What's up everyone, it's K.D.M Sports again, and we are back this time with some huge boxing news. Errol Spence Jr. will be taking on Terence Crawford in an undisputed welterweight title fight on Saturday, July 29. This fight is going to be massive for boxing, probably the biggest super fight since Mayweather and Pacquiao back in 2015. This is great for boxing because it pits two of the greatest welterweights of this generation against each other, who are both undefeated and both have accomplished a lot in the sport. Boxing this year has been on fire, and I just can't wait for this fight. Now let's talk about what each fighter's strengths and weaknesses are. Errol Spence Jr. is a boxer that I've personally always been a fan of because to me he truly embodies what it means to be a fundamentally sound boxer. He has a great jab, vicious body attack, cuts the ring off well, and has solid defense. On the mid-range to inside range, I don't think Crawford can compete with the sheer volume and pace Errol puts out. Although Crawford in his own right is also very good at these ranges, I just think Spence really shines in these ranges and just outworks Crawford. In fact, in Spence's recent fight, we saw him throw 476 power punches in 10 rounds against Ugas, who's a very good counter puncher, and he also stood toe-to-toe with Errol for about 8.5 rounds. That's almost double the power punch output of any fight on Terence Crawford's welterweight resume. If the fight takes place mostly on the inside, Terence Crawford will likely end up as a punching bag. To sum this up, shelling up with a high guard in front of Spence would be a terrible idea, as he would find the holes around and in between the classic high guard defense that he so often does with many opponents who choose to fight like that in the duration of a fight against him. He uses many tactics like peeling the guard, and his favorite thing to do is brutally attack the body. The high guard defense also allows Spence to utilize his elite level frame game, which forces openings while also disrupting the countering ability of an opponent. Errol's head control game is also very good, where he turns missed punches into opportunities. Crawford loves to duck the hook, which isn't a bad thing, but Errol has shown how he can take advantage of that in fights. That was shown in the Sean Porter fight a few years back, controlling the head after a miss setting up that lethal short left hook. When that confidence and ego starts to take over, a consistent mistake Crawford loves to make is the no jab with no head movement in the high guard. The second consistent mistake he makes is throwing a single jab at mid-range or reaching for head control. If this fight is fought in the mid-range to inside range, this is Spence's territory, and it's likely it will end up like any other Errol Spence fight. Terence Crawford is able to fight out of both stances, but he typically goes southpaw a lot, and I think he'll utilize this stance more in the Errol fight to find his range, as he's also known as a pretty slow starter, simply due to the fact that he is collecting data on his opponent that he'll use in the later rounds because of his 74-inch reach advantage and his ability to judge distance. He's great at using the drawing, pull counter to bait his opponents into throwing punches. He can counter while mostly using that jab. If you look back at the Jeff Warren fight, you can see his great counter-punching skills and movement on full display. Spence at times can be predictable with his attack and combinations, which can cause problems for him against Terence Crawford. Terence is also great at countering to the body as well, where he'll roll with a punch and come back downstairs to the body. This though can leave Crawford open on his chin if his timing is off. The weakness of Terence is his heavy reliance on mobility and instincts. He's labeled as a switch hitter, but he's really much better out of southpaw, and in recent fights he has struggled a bit in the orthodox stance. He has also shown a slight decline in his mobility, possibly due to heavier weight and age factors. This can make him more vulnerable to Spence's volume and constant pressure. Errol, though, in his recent fight against Ugas, did show a lot of overreaching and overextending on punches, which he cannot do against Terence. For my prediction, I'm going to go with Errol Spence by split decision. I think it's going to be a great high-level fight, but I just think Errol may get out ahead of Terence on the scorecards in the early to mid-rounds. Thanks for watching, and if you have any personal opinions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below.